Good morning and welcome back to Gaming with ADHD. It is Friday, and this makes 2 Fridays in a row. This might become a habit at some point, hopefully. Anyways, no, it is Friday. I had a good week. I've done stuff, gotten shorts up, been getting reading done. Anyways, I'm still behind on everything, but I'm working on my combat patrol. I'm excited, and yeah, I think that's all I can think of at the moment. I really don't have a whole lot to say this morning. Anyways, good morning, Mundo. Good to see you, buddy. Sorry for taking so long to get started. I did have to wait for daughter-in-law and grandson to get here. She broke her foot, and so luckily it's not the driving foot, but she came, figured she'd come and hang out. That way she'd have a little bit of help, and so letting Peanut Gallery do that, and we're gonna paint some miniatures. So, all right, with that said, I'm just gonna flip my camera over, which I need to fix, apparently. There we go. All right, so where we left off last week, I had done first layer of paint on here. We'll zoom in on the Marines that I have so far for combat patrol. Some of them are a little thin, so we definitely need to go over with at least a second coat. We are following the instructions that come with the combat patrol magazine. That's there we go. And anyways, so they actually recommend 3 layers of your base coat, but I will be honest, they do not advise priming ahead of time, which I think is a mistake, but whatever. So I'm gonna go through. I want to do that second layer, but before we get started on that, I've still got some Tyranids that need their first layer of Wraithbone, so we're going to get that on, and then we'll go through and do second layers. Second layers should get us to the spot where we can start actually coming in with some of the Burgundy. Anyways, we can go from there. So How about now? Anyways, anyone? Is that any better? Waiting for the chat. Yes, I know. I don't I would like to point out, I haven't changed anything. Like no one else uses this computer. No one. So how the settings all got ganked, I don't know. But like the microphone in StreamYard was wrong. It was muted in OBS. I've unplugged it and plugged it into anyways, whatever. Okay. You all can anyway, man, this has been the biggest disaster of me trying to stream anything. I've never been this bad at it. Take 4. This is literally like the 4th time I've tried explaining this. Okay. What am I doing today? I'm painting Combat Patrol. Fridays, Combat Patrol. If you don't want to see somebody painting Warhammer stuff, don't show up on Fridays. Actually, no, show up. I mean, come on. I can use the views and the algorithm. I'm just, anyways. And it's always just fun to hang out. So I've got Combat Patrol, and because of the way they send you the models, they send you the paint, they send you brushes. I thought it would be interesting to actually go back. Okay, I've been painting models for almost 30 years. Hey, Steven, how are you, my friend? And also Bear, Stickbug, Curtis, Mundo. I should say hi to everybody because I said hi to all of you, just so you know. You just didn't hear me. Anyways, so I've been painting for almost 30 years. I'm still not very good at it. Ask Curtis. I wasn't good in the first place. I'm not much better now. But I thought it would be interesting because they are presenting in the magazine, hey, here is our recommended painting process. And so I yes, Steven, brush control. Anyways, I thought it would be interesting to do that. And so that's why I ended up I am doing Ultramarines. I am doing whatever Hive fleet this is for the Tyranids. But I am I know I'm better than back in the day, Mundo. I'm you know me and my self-deprecating humor. I'm sorry. I know you don't like it. Anyways, the point being, I just thought it would be interesting to see what would happen to my skills if I try to actually, learn and practice quote unquote good techniques. Now, you may argue, you may disagree that Games Workshop has good techniques, but let's be honest, they are the big dogs in the industry, and they kind of know what they're talking about. Okay, regardless of your opinion on them. And so that's what I'm doing. I am doing a couple of things a little different. I will specify those. Like, because of the way they sell the magazine, like, they're not selling spray primer. Or they're not sending you a can of spray primer with the magazine subscription. kind of for obvious reasons. So they don't talk about priming. Well, I have been doing this long enough that while yes, you can paint directly to plastic, I'm not going to bother trying. I'm going to prime my models. Okay. Also, while I did forget to do it on some of these models before I primed them, I'm also going to be, put a little extra basing material, some basing sand. So it's not going to be 100% per their instructions, but I want to I want to try and see how it comes out. See if I can improve or modify my skills accordingly. Anyways, so there's my rant now that people can hear me. Jeez. Oh, so annoyed by that. Especially because I don't, like, I'm not even taking a lot of the blame on that one. Like literally, I haven't touched StreamYard since my stream Wednesday evening. But for some reason, like, all my mic settings got changed. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But here we are. So, how's everyone else doing? Are you ready for the weekend? Are we doing anything this weekend? I'm working overtime again. Say what you will. Yeah, dude, trust me, you're wrong. Like, Mike is looking for a new job. That's just a given. How about now? Oh my god. Okay, I know what happened this time. It is. Maybe streaming today wasn't a good idea. You know? That's okay. Anyways, I was asking you all what your plans were for the weekend, and I was going off about how all I've got scheduled is overtime, or all I've got planned is overtime, and a friend is coming over Saturday evening to play some board games. And so we will like that's the extent of it. Yeah, I like so my microphone's on a swing arm, and when I was swinging it to get it in a better spot for the way that I'm facing, I touched the mute button on the microphone. Anyways, so yeah, that one I can't even blame Mike for that one. Mike's still fired, but I can't blame him for that last one. That one was me and then not noticing it. Seriously, though. It is obviously going to be one of those days. Grandson is grumpy. Probably nap time. But anyways. So, anyone else got something more exciting than me? I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah. I'm just grateful that I get to do the overtime. Like, everyone kind of thinks that I'm gonna like burn myself out, but it's like I work the night shift. So when I get used to being up at night, well, I'm awake at night. So might as well, and then so I'm probably going to be awake on the weekend. And so might as well, might as well work the overtime if they've got it. I mean, that's the whole reason that we got to go on our trip a couple of weeks ago. That's why we get to go on the trip in September. So nice. Yeah, that's the one thing I like about camping around this time of year. Like, it's warm enough in the day that you can do, all the fun outdoorsy stuff. But there's something about camping when it gets a little colder out. At night, by the way. That's what I meant. Okay, Tyranids are kind of a pain to paint. Not only do you have arms crossing over the body, You've got two sets of arms crossing over the body. And this brush is wrecked. Which is why I'm using it for this base layer, because I don't care about it. I think I missed some cleanup right on the edge of the tail, right there. There's a little nub. Now it's got wet paint on it, so I'm going to leave it as is. I should get the, well, I do have to clean up the house a bit, so when I do, I'm going to try and get at least one combat patrol in with one of my boys this weekend. I have the table. I have the terrain. We can do it. Actually, what I need to do is I need to get the 3D printer fired back up. Actually, I've got to print stuff for Curtis. But I want to get... Actually, I think I'm going to wait. I think I will wait on firing up the 3D printer until I get the house clean. But I've been printing a bunch of terrain. So yeah, Curtis, I've got a project for you next time you come down. But I've been printing up a bunch of terrain, and so I want to get that. I want to get all the parts that I need finished. This particular batch of terrain would be for Necromunda. Basically, it's proxy stuff for the Games Workshop Zone Mortalis, because their stuff is expensive. I think I've used like $40 of filament, and I've got used about $40 worth of filament, and I've printed about $300 equivalent of Zone Mortalis terrain. So I need to figure out what else I need to print. See, and actually that's one of the hard parts. Like for me, terrain needs to be done in FDM, not resin. Mostly because it's terrain. Why use your expensive resin on stuff that doesn't need the same level of detail as miniatures? You know? Okay, I definitely got this paint a little thin, so we're definitely going to need more than one coat here. Might even need to go up to 3. Nope, that's not going to work right. So, but the problem I've been having is the I haven't figured out the best, or I haven't figured out supports that work, which has to be my fault. Because the problem is the people that make it designed it for resin. They didn't design it for FDM, and some of the parts come out great. Like the big easy parts come out great. But then like they've got lots of parts with like little overhangs and pegs, and it's like there's no good way to put these on the print bed to print them without any supporting material. But then when I put the supporting material on it, it puts too much and it's almost impossible to get off. So, needless to say, I printed a bunch of stuff that's kind of a waste because I can't get the supports off it so that I can actually use it. And some of it is just like, oh, I don't even care about the supports because it ends up getting hidden away anyways, and it doesn't interfere with using it. So, okay, fine, I'll leave that alone. I don't care about that. But there's a bunch of stuff where it's like, okay, I need this, but it doesn't work if if I can't get the supports off. So, needless to say, it annoyed me and took me out of printing brain. So I haven't been running the printer. That, and I love my new printer, the Centauri Carbon. Man, is this thing loud. Like seriously, it's like turning on a jet engine in my living room. And which is frustrating because that also means that my plan to move it back upstairs, essentially in Peanut Gallery's work area, is not gonna happen because I'm not gonna do that to her. Like she can tune it out, mostly because only one of her ears works, but it's still really loud. So I have to come up with another solution. A lot of you are probably wondering why I'm doing this, why I'm painting this guy over top of all the other guys. It's because it's just the same color of paint, and so I don't care. Like, even being messy, I mean, it just puts more paint on the other guys. But it's the same color. Anyways, man, you all are chatty today. It's hard to keep up with you. But it was kind of funny. Okay, I'll go back and I'll tell this story that I started during the microphone issues. So I showed off earlier. Basically, I hate Games Workshop paint pots. I always have. I also think Games Workshop charges you a lot more for paint than they need to. You know, it's $5 for 12 ounces, or I can pay $5 for 20 ounces from Monument Hobbies. But since I'm doing the Combat Patrol subscription and they include the paint, I am painting it with the Games Workshop paint. Anyways, but I know I'm not going to have enough, so I went and I got an extra bottle of everything so that I could move it into the dropper bottles that I like. Anyways, so it was fun though, because you know, just it's the game store, so you're just kind of hanging out. And so I was talking with the store manager. I am debating, like, if for some reason I get laid off, I might actually go and try and be a manager at a Warhammer store. Is it going to pay what I make here? Absolutely not. Would it be kind of interesting to do? Probably. The one thing that sucks, I guess, the starting pay is about $40,000 a year, which comes out to just under $20 an hour. Which, that's not very good. But apparently, like, they get like a couple of bonuses a year. I don't know what the bonuses are calculated on, like store sales or what. But I don't know. If I lose the job I have now, I think it would be interesting to do. So we'll see. I'll keep you all posted if anything happens. But also, while we were talking, there was another guy there, and he's a younger guy. And BattleTech came up. He's like, "Oh yeah, I've heard about that. That's kind of new, right?" Like, no, it's not. Like, back in the day, like, BattleTech was way bigger than Warhammer ever was. It's obviously not the case now, but you know, back when I was a kid, you know, everybody had BattleTech. Next to nobody had Warhammer. Actually, I remember going to a game store. Like, I just found out about Warhammer. And I went to the game store. I said, "Hey, I would like Warhammer." And he was like, "Nope." Okay. I forget what the problem was, but but guy refused to carry it. Guy also shut down eventually, but guy refused to carry it. And so like it was hard to find. But it was not hard to find BattleTech stuff. Find it in bookstores, find it in game stores. You could find game stores. Magic the Gathering didn't exist yet. Anyways, we got on the subject of like all the stuff that not all, but a lot of the stuff that is really popular now all really got its start in the 80s. Now, we're being a little loose with the term 80s. Basically late 70s to early 90s is kind of what we included in this. Mostly because when you factor in development time or who would have created it, things like that, the up until 94, 95, it was all still being done by a lot of the same creators. It was being done in many similar fashions. So we still kind of included that. But we got thinking about it, and seriously, everything that's huge. Transformers, 80s. G.I. Joe, 80s. Yes, G.I. Joe technically got started in the 60s, but G.I. Joe, as we know it today, was 80s. BattleTech was 80. Warhammer was in the 80s. 40K was in the 80s. It's Dungeons and Dragons was late 70s. You had Traveler, you had Steve Jackson Games. Yes, Steve Jackson is known for Munchkin now. But they did all sorts of stuff. Starting in late 70s all through the 80s and 90s. So it was definitely a kind of eye-opening to realize, wait a second, everything that I quote unquote was the 80s. All the stuff that I've gotten my kids interested was from when I was a kid in the 80s. Everchosen, I am. So since I'm guessing you kind of came in recently, they're gonna be Wraithbone with some Burgundy. Basically, this is from the Combat Patrol magazine subscription, and even though I've been painting models for 30 years, I'm backtracking to just kind of see if I learned something or change up how I do things by quote unquote learning the right way. Anyways, so this is out of the magazine. This is work in progress as of issue 5, I think. Anyway, so Wraithbone Black and Barak Nur Burgundy. I'm not... Actually, you know what? Let's do this real quick. So if we flip to the collect section... Alright, so collecting Space Marines... Tyranids, Tyranid characters, Tyranid units. I don't think they say what Hive fleet this is. Maybe it's in the reading section. Anyways, yeah, so you actually end up tearing the magazine apart, so that you can, organize it. All right, here's the Tyranid section. All right, Tyranid, Devouring Swarm, blah, blah, blah. Asian swarms, hive fleets. Oh no, okay. So the purple and Wraithbone is Leviathan. Hive fleet Leviathan. There we go. All right, see? This is why I do it over chat, because then, you all help me figure things out. But yeah, like I said, I'm, intentionally following the basic steps. Just because I've kind of evolved my painting on my own. And so I just want to try it by mostly following Games Workshop's instructions. Yes, I realize that, they'll probably come out a little bit basic. I'm actually not worried about that, though. I'm planning on keeping these as combat patrols. I'm not intending to go through and fill out to like 2,000 points each, because I don't need 2,000 points of 9 armies. I already have plenty of other models. And like my big army for those purposes will probably be my Dark Angels, which I've got a couple thousand of. So keeping these painted like the boxes, that's fine for me. All right, he actually didn't need a whole lot. But this does clean up that base layer. All right, let's get some on the Von Ryan's Leapers. I am a little annoyed with myself for not getting the sand on the other models before I primed everything. Oh well. We're here now. All right. Anyways, back to the 80s discussion, since no one else wants to ask any questions or throw in their own 2 cents. But yeah, just like big brands, big, like pop culture stuff, like really does trace back to the 80s. Star Wars. Technically the first Star Wars was 77, but then you had Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi in 80 and 83. Just because I watched it recently, Tron came out in 84, I think. Yes, I realize I'm bringing out some technically smaller names, but they're still pretty big. Anyways, is it important? No. Is it interesting? Yes. Who knows? Maybe I'm just stuck living in the past. Probably. I mean, I'm old. But here we are. I also had another epiphany. This one I want you all to chime in on if you think I'm out of line. All right. Monster, the energy drink. I don't drink it to stay awake because it doesn't work. I drink it because I like it. And maybe it's some self-medication because I don't actually take any ADHD meds. No, this isn't a rant about how I can't handle ADHD. We already know that. Anyways, so Peanut Gallery sends me this Instagram reel. Was it Instagram? Whatever. It was either Instagram or Facebook, whatever. I don't know. Not important. But sends me this reel, and guys at a grocery store or something, and it's like, what drinking each Monster sounds like. And so he reaches in and just gets like the old school, or like the OG Monster, black can, green label, whole 9 yards. I have no idea what the song was, but this song, like just this modern metal, rock song starts playing. Okay, kind of cool. I can agree with that. And then it moves down a little bit and it gets to a Monster Juice with mango. And I forget the song it was playing, but it was very much a Latin orientation to the music. But watch that one, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can agree to that. I can see that. And then it goes to the White Ultra Monster. And then it starts playing like some like 90s, heavy alternative. No, no, that's right. Peanut Gallery called it right. She grunge. Some like 90s grunge song. And I was like, okay, and that's when my thoughts started formulating. But I'll tell you the last one just because it was kind of funny. Then it gets to the pink strawberry, ultra monster, and starts playing some like K-pop or J-pop song. And it sounds like something that's extra pink and highly saccharinized. Anyways, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, yes, that is exactly what Strawberry Ultra Monster tastes like. But it got me thinking, and I'm like, I think the White Ultra Monster is like the Gen X monster. Anyone that's like in my age group, so someone in their 40s, okay, who I'm just going to call Gen X just out of principle. I've already said the 80s goes from the late 70s to the early 90s. Why not, say that Gen X applies to anybody in their 40s, even though I'm getting closer to 50, but that's a separate issue. But like I literally I can't think of anyone in my age group that drinks regular. Well, number one, I can't think of anyone that drinks regular Monster. If you drink regular Monster, you have a problem, and you should see many people about it. But yeah, anytime I see somebody in that Gen X age group with an energy drink, it's like always White Monster. So, am I out of line, or is White Monster the Gen X energy drink? Yeah, I know. Back in my day, we had Mountain Dew and we called it good. Look, I already told you, I drink Monster for the flavor. And maybe the fact that it acts like a ADHD meds or something. I don't know. You're not wrong, Curtis. Like, White Monster is just like the best flavor. Even my youngest, he said that, that he kind of considers the White Monster his go-to, but like if I see other Monster flavors, occasionally I'll get one. Like if we're on a road trip, and so I'm getting Monster to just, so I'm not hauling it with me. Like, I'm almost always just getting White Monster, even though because and I get White Monster because that's what they sell by the case at Costco. But like, even if I have access to all of the flavors, it's at least like 2-to-1 White Monster to other flavors. Like, I'll get other flavors just to change it up. But, like, my kids actually go searching out the other flavors. So, you know, I don't. It's just, if I happen to see them, I might get them. But otherwise, I'm just sticking with White Monster. Anyways, all right. So I've only gotten one comment from Curtis that White Monster just tastes better. But no one wants to argue my theory that well, that's awkward. Notice that there's a giant gap. I'll have to fuss with that later, especially now that it's covered in wet paint. But no one wants to argue or confirm my statement that White Monster is the Gen X monster. Like, I don't think they would ever have to, like, try to do a marketing campaign to get Gen X to drink White Monster, because they're already doing it. Or they don't drink energy drinks. One of the two. Boomer fuel. I can agree to that one. Actually, I will admit I am kind of curious to try the Fat Electrician energy drink. It's called like Echelon or something, and it's spicy. Why? I have no idea. But like they intentionally mix in like chili powder. I don't know. I would try it. I just don't feel like ordering it by a quote-unquote case. But I don't know where you can get just one. All right, the second coat absolutely helps on these. Here I am just kind of brute forcing this layer in. And then I have to come in and be delicate. As I keep squeezing paint out, though, I'm absolutely glad that I went and got more. I don't think I will need it today, but I'm definitely going to need it. But yeah, Boomer Fuel I think is a Great description. Anyways, those were my insights for the week. White Monster is Gen X boomer fuel. And pop culture as we know it today was created in the 80s. Those are my hot takes. Which I just literally did the math in my head. I've got to get these knocked out, or at least caught up. Where they say your progress should be. Because not next week, but I think the week after, the next magazine show, the next box of magazines show up. Which is going to mean more models, more painting steps. Or wait, not next week, the week after. So, nobody wants to chime in with anything else? We'll be honest. I think I'm going to pass out here in a second. So I'm going to do a second layer on the barb gaunts. Then I'm going to let them dry. I'm going to try and do an extra paint stream this weekend. I need to do special project Sunday so I can get back to work on Rex. I want to get these guys caught up, so I might do an extra paint stream. Keep the notification button on just in case. Yeah, one reason I don't like painting whites is it always seems to get like washed out. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna try something real quick. Oh. Okay, never mind. I was trying to modify the camera settings. But it didn't work. I think I need to call one of my camera friends. See if they can come help me, because I have a feeling I have to change those settings all on the camera as opposed to through OBS. Of course, I am debating getting a new top-down camera. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Well, it is just about 10 o'clock. I've technically only been painting about an hour due to Mike interfering with the plans today, but I am kind of crashing out. So I've got the Wraithbone layer more or less done. I didn't get back to the Marines. I will probably do that this weekend. But yeah, I'm gonna pause it here because I am not braining at the moment. All right. So, with that said, I mean, I guess any last questions, comments, concerns, or otherwise, let me know. Put it down in the comments. Follow up. Let us know what you think. So, on that note, I am going to go. I need to go to bed. I do hope you all have a good weekend, and I will try again to do a Monday paint stream where we do some not combat patrol stuff. Probably want to do Halo. I've got my Spartan edition. I need to get that stuff painted up. So we'll see what we get to. But all right, everybody, thanks for hanging out, and we will talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.